I still remember the way the sunlight caught the shimmer of the bottle in my hand as I twisted the cap. It wasn't anything fancy, just plain coconut oil, but that day, it might as well have been magic. My name is Clarissa, and I never imagined that helping someone climb a roof would change everything. It started in the middle of summer. The heat wrapped around our little suburban street like a blanket we couldn't peel off. I had just moved into the old corner house, the one with the crooked fence and slanted roof. Fixer-upper, they called it. I called it escape. From the city, from my ex, from everything that felt too heavy to carry anymore. My neighbor was a tall, lean man named James Carter. He had a quiet charm, the kind that settled into the air and lingered without making a sound. Every time I saw him, there was something boyish in the way his mouth curled at the corners, and something magnetic in how he never seemed to rush. James was always there when I needed a tool, or an extra set of hands. That day he was there because of a small problem with my roof. A panel had come loose during last night's storm, and I was sure it was going to blow off if I didn't fix it soon. I had no ladder, no clue, and no one else to call. James offered to help without hesitation. I just need a little grip from my hands, he said, flexing his fingers as he looked up at the slanted edge of the roof. I have oil, I joked, holding up the bottle and giving it a teasing shake. He raised an eyebrow and smiled. You put on the oil, I have to climb up? I laughed. Not for your hands. For your arms and back. So they don't dry out in the sun. Come on, sit here. I patted the step beside me on the porch. James sat, his shirt already off from the heat. I tried not to stare, but I did. I'm only human. His skin glowed with a sun-kissed bronze, his muscles moving like water as he leaned forward slightly. I poured a little oil into my palms and rubbed them together. The heat made it silky, sliding between my fingers like something forbidden. When I touched his back, I expected the usual, a polite shiver, maybe a nervous chuckle. But instead, there was stillness. His shoulders tensed, then softened. I moved slowly, working the oil into the dips and curves of his muscles. It was innocent. Mostly. But the air shifted. Every second stretched. Every brush of my fingertips across his skin felt like an echo. His voice was lower when he spoke. Feels really good. I can tell, I said softly, my lips close to his ear. He turned slightly, catching my eye with a look that lingered. I pulled away before it could go too far, suddenly shy. You better get up there before the sun melts us both. He grinned and got to his feet, wiped his hands on a rag, then climbed the small ladder I steadied with both hands. As he got to the roof, he called back. You know, you're a little dangerous with that oil. I'll keep that in mind for next time. Next time came faster than I expected. Over the next few weeks, we fell into a rhythm. James would swing by to check on things. I'd bake too many muffins and pretend I had no one else to share them with. We started having coffee on my porch, sitting shoulder to shoulder as the sky turned pink and the fireflies blinked like secrets. He told me about his past, not everything, but enough. Enough to know he'd been hurt. Enough to know he still wanted to believe in something better. One Friday evening, just before sunset, he showed up with a toolbox and a smile. Your roof's got another loose panel. I rolled my eyes. I think you just like climbing up there. Maybe I like the view, he said, and he wasn't looking at the house. I felt the flutter then, low in my stomach, the kind that made my toes curl just from the way he said things. You know the drill, I said, holding up the bottle. He laughed. You and that oil. This time, when I rubbed it into his arms, my fingers slowed. I traced little circles near his shoulder, brushing close to the hollow of his collarbone. He turned toward me, and his breath warmed my cheek. I didn't move away. We both knew something had shifted. The lines were still there, but they were drawn in sand now, easy to cross. After the roof was fixed, James sat with me under the porch light. He leaned back on his elbows, looking up at the sky. Ever wonder what it would feel like to fly? All the time, I said, watching the way his jaw moved when he smiled. Come on, he said, standing and reaching for my hand. Let's go up. On the roof. He nodded. I want to show you something. I hesitated, then took his hand. He pulled me up gently, his fingers warm against mine. We climbed the ladder one by one, and soon we were both sitting on the edge of the roof, our legs dangling, the stars above us. It's beautiful, I whispered. He turned to look at me. So are you. I didn't say anything, but I didn't need to. He leaned in, not too fast, not too slow, just close enough to ask permission with his eyes. I tilted my head, and our lips met. It was soft at first, like a whisper in the dark. Then it deepened, hands finding skin, breath mingling in the heat. When his fingers brushed the edge of my shirt, I stopped him. Not because I didn't want it, but because I wanted it to last. Not here, I whispered. Not yet. He nodded, pressing his forehead to mine. I'll wait. From then on, everything felt like a dance. Every glance, every laugh, every moment we spent alone carried a tension that buzzed just beneath the surface. One afternoon, I invited him over for iced tea. The air conditioner had gone out, and my tank top clung to my skin. James showed up in loose shorts and no shirt, sweat gleaming across his chest. I handed him a glass and leaned against the kitchen counter, trying not to get caught staring. You sure this tea isn't spiked? He teased. It's sweet enough without. He took a sip, then set the glass down. You're killing me, Clarissa. How so? Do you have any idea what you do to me? I stepped closer, close enough to see the flecks of gold in his eyes. You think I don't feel it too? He backed me gently against the counter, his hands braced on either side of me. You make it really hard to be a gentleman. I'm not asking you to be, I said breathlessly. His lips brushed my neck, slow and soft, trailing heat along my skin. He stopped just before our mouths met again. We should stop, he whispered. We should, I agreed. Neither of us moved. Eventually we pulled apart, the air thick with want. That night I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed thinking about him, about the way his hands felt on my waist, the way his voice dipped when he got close. I imagined what it would be like if we stopped waiting. The next day, a storm rolled in, dark, loud, and beautiful. The wind howled, and the rain came down hard. My power flickered, then died. A knock on the door startled me, and there he was, soaked to the skin, hair plastered to his forehead. I saw the lights go out. Thought you might need company. You're wet, I said, pulling him inside. So are you, he said, glancing at my damp tank top. We both laughed, the tension snapping like a rubber band. I handed him a towel, and he dried his hair, then stood close enough that the heat from his body warmed mine. This storm's not stopping anytime soon, he murmured. Neither am I replied. That night we didn't rush. We moved slow, savoring every moment. Our kisses were soft, our touches gentle. Everything was wrapped in shadows and the rhythm of rain tapping against the windows. It was beautiful, not explicit, not fast, just two people finally letting go, letting everything they'd been holding back pour out like thunder. We didn't call it love, not yet. But it felt like the start of something real. The next morning, the sky cleared. He climbed onto my roof again, but this time I followed him. We sat side by side, drinking coffee and watching the neighborhood come back to life. He slipped his hand into mine and we both smiled. Guess we're flying now, I said. He nodded. Took off the moment you touched me with that oil. I laughed, leaning into his side. And there, on that crooked old roof, under a brand new sky, I felt something I hadn't felt in years, weightless.